Week in 5, 5 things about marketing this week. My name is Roger Gallegos. I am the founder and CEO of Beacon Marketing. This week we're going to be talking about your UVP, specifically how you can use your UVP to stand out in your marketing efforts and be really, truly successful. For those of you who may not be aware of what your UVP is your unique value proposition. This is what makes you stand out from your competitors. It makes you different. To simplify it, I like to think of it as the promise that you are making to your current and potential customers. You are saying, if you come to us, you are going to get this extra benefit that you're not going to get anywhere else, because this is what makes us different. This is what makes us special. It's kind of a promise, a guarantee that you're delivering, and we're going to get into that a little bit later, how that works, but that's essentially what it is. So what we're looking at today is how can you use your UVP in your marketing efforts to stand out and just really be effective with how you communicate with your audience. So the first thing you want to do is understand what your UVP is. You want to take the time to see what makes your business different, what sets you apart. Because unless you have invented a totally new thing or you're in a totally new industry, chances are you're going to go into something that you're going to have a fair amount of competition. Like me with marketing, or a mechanic, or a restaurant, you're going to have a fair amount of competition. So you want to understand what sets you apart, what makes you different. So what I do for my clients is I look at the competitors, national and local, and I say, how does your services differ for them? What do you deliver that your competitors don't? What is a thing that you do or you provide that somebody cannot get anywhere else? That's your unique value proposition. Again, that's that promise that you're making. So the first step to actually being able to use it in your marketing is to understand what it is, to be able to define what your UVP is. You want to be able to say, this is what makes us different. The second step, so first step is understand. Second step is, how does it benefit your audience? What does your audience get from it? Because it's one thing to say, this is what sets us apart. Your audience is going to be like, oh, that's great, but what do we get from it? So an example of this is, we're right off the freeway. We're right off the freeway, which allows you to come in, get what you need, and get on your way within minutes. So you don't have to spend a lot of time. You don't have to waste a lot of time in traffic. Or we have over 100 years of experience in plumbing. So no matter what issues you have with your household plumbing, we have the answer. So you have the peace of mind when you give us a call, whether it's at 8 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, 10 o'clock at night, we are going to have the answers. You're going to get someone who's knowledgeable and who's experienced and who has the expertise to solve your plumbing issues. Whatever it is, you want to be able to drill down to the benefit that the customer is getting. So first step, understand your UVP. Second step, what benefit, what are the core things that your customers are going to get from it, so they understand and they're able to translate it to, this is what I'm getting from it. Next is actually leverage your UVP. If you take the time to define it, if you take the time to understand what your audience gets from it, actually use it in your messaging. And you see this everywhere. One of the most famous examples is Domino's 30 minutes or less. For those of you who don't remember, in the 80s, I think even 90s, Domino's had, order your pizza, 30 minutes or less, you get it, or it's free, or some sort of discount. And again, what they were able to say, so think about that. You, as a customer, the promise was, going back to the idea of a promise, I order a pizza, you're going to give me it 30 minutes or less, or I get it for free. That's a huge benefit. That's going to, boom, 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 give me that pizza. So you want to be able to make it part of your campaign, and that was everywhere. I remember, I grew up in the 80s. I remember seeing those commercials everywhere. It was part of their campaign. So once you understand what your UVP is and you understand the benefit to the customer, you want to make it central to your campaign so people see it, they understand it, it becomes part of their understanding of what your business is and who you are, and it essentially helps with your branding, which we talked about last week a bit in last week's video. So that's step number 3, leverage your UVP. Step number 4 is actually communicate what your UVP is with your team. They need to understand what that promise is. They need to understand what they're delivering. So sticking with the example of Domino's, they said 30 minutes or less to their customers. So they communicate that to their team saying, hey, we need to deliver this pizza 30 minutes or less. So here are the things that we need to do from top down. So from the store manager all the way to the delivery driver, here's what we need to do to make sure we deliver on this promise, because we're making a promise to our customers. Now, if you do not do that, if you don't communicate, if everyone on the team does not understand what their role is into delivering upon that promise, chances are you're not going to meet up to that. You're not going to meet those expectations, because if you make that promise, if you state your UVP, your customers, at least at first glance, they're going to take you at face value. They're going to take you on your word. They're going to trust you. The first time you break that trust, they're going to sit there and say, you know what, they can't live up to it. So yeah, I got my free pizza once, but I'm not going to go to them again because I had to wait an hour. They told me half an hour. I had to wait twice as long. So communicate with your team. Make sure your team understands what your UVP is, why it's so important, and what their role is in making sure your company lives up to that promise. Number 5, you want to evolve with the audience and with the industry. Again, this was the 30 minutes or less was Domino's promise in the 80s. As they have grown and as their audience has grown, that became an unfeasible business model. Because let's face it, our population has grown, people live in more sparsely populated areas. They've grown, they moved to different areas in terms of Domino's. So their idea, they can no longer deliver a pizza in 30 minutes or less, no matter how fast they were. So a lot of their, if you see now, their premise is, was it the $5 weekly pizza? You call in, you get a certain pizza for $5, whatever it is. I'm not exactly sure what they're running now, but that they know they could deliver on that. That's what makes them different. So you go in, and it's more of a convenience play. Come in, get a great pizza for $5, eat it at home. We'll take care of dinner for you for only $5. That is their new promise. That's a new UVP. So you see how they evolved with their audience. They changed with the industry. They changed how their business grown. So keep that in mind. What makes you special today, what makes you unique today, may not make you unique in a year, may not make you unique in 5 years. So you want to be able to evolve and change with the industry, change with your audience, and change with how your business grows and how your business evolves. If you're able to do that, then you stay relevant. You stay on top of what you're doing. You stay on top of mind of your audience because you're able to evolve with them. So let's recap the 5 ways you could use your UVP to stand out in your marketing efforts. First, you want to understand your UVP. Second, you want to understand or detail what your audience gets from it, their benefit. You want to leverage your UVP by making it central to your campaign. You want to communicate with your team what your UVP is and what the audience is supposed to get it. You want to make sure they understand the promise that you're making, so they understand their role in making that promise true. And then 5, you want to evolve with the audience, with the industry, with your business to make sure that your UVP is still relevant. That's the most important part right there in my mind. All right, so that's it for me. Let me know what you think about this. Well, let me know your business UVP and how you developed it, why it's important to you, and what makes you really special. As always, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. If you have any questions, please let me know. I want to know where you guys are at. That's it for me today. Next week, I'll be back talking about goals and aligning your marketing goals with what you want to accomplish as a business. I'm really looking forward to that one because it'll be kind of slightly different from what we normally do. So really excited for that. So stay tuned for that. My name is Roger Gallegos. This has been Beacon Marketing's Beacon 5. Thank you so much again for tuning in. Talk to you next week. You have a great one, and talk to you later.